An,
Yes, sir.
hindi daw makapasok si Mohan.
Okay po.
Sign in na tayo.
Good morning, everyone. Hello, hello. Good morning. Can I see some?
Yes, good morning.
Yes, some emoticons or emojis, or can we hear some reactions or comments here on our Zoom chat, where you are watching from or where you're tuning from what institution you are representing. Welcome to our fourth episode or the fourth webinar of our Revitalizing Socio-Ecological Production Landscapes and Seascapes webinar series. So my name is Anne, by the way, and I will be your host for today. So I know that some of our participants are still joining. So I'm still accepting some participants here. So just feel free to greet everyone here on the Zoom chat and everyone who is watching us from our Facebook Live. So again, we are watching from we are streaming live on Facebook on our Facebook page. So you can check our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/PhilippineSatuyama/live. So yeah, so welcome again. Welcome to our guest. Welcome to our participants. Thank you for joining our webinar. And this webinar, again, aims to raise awareness on the socio-ecological conservation and sustainable development and sustainable use of socio-ecological production landscapes and seascapes, or SEPLS, through a series of online talks from experts on Satuyama Satumi principles as approaches to sustainable management and biodiversity conservation. So if you are new to our webinar series, we have posted some of our previous webinars on our official YouTube channel. So you can search it, just type Philippine Satuyama and it will show up. Of course, our previous webinars are also posted on our Facebook page, so you could also check that out on our page. And we have also already published or officially put out our website, so you can also look for it. You can just type it on Google search, www.philippine-satuyama.com. So you could check there some of our activities or objectives as a project, and the team. You can also check out the members of this project, and of course the relevant articles about Satuyama and Satumi. So yes, so before we begin, we would just like to remind everyone of some of our webinar guidelines. So number one, I'm sure that you're all familiar with the Zoom etiquette. Kindly keep your microphones muted, especially when our guest speaker is already presenting. And of course, this is to make sure that our guest speaker and our discussant is clear for everyone. If you have questions or clarifications while the talk is ongoing, please send your questions using the Zoom chat or Facebook Live comment, and we will take note of your questions and we'll acknowledge them later on during the open forum. And lastly, we will send the link to the evaluation form after the during the question and answer. and the certificates will be sent to the indicated email in the evaluation form. So that's all for our gentle reminders. Let me just acknowledge some of our participants here. So good morning, Ma'am Jenja Lane from Negros. Good morning, Ma'am Lyra. Good morning, Ma'am Buot. Of course, Ma'am Tess, Ma'am Buot. And Ma'am Clarice from Benguet. Wow. And yes, good morning, Ms. Christine Notario, one of our project partners in Bicol. And Ma'am Elizabeth from UP NCPAG and NAPC OP from the Cordilleras and Sulu. Wow, ang layo po ng narating natin. So again, good morning everyone. Good morning to our guests and participants. Ayan, may mga tinadagdag pa po tayo from the waiting room. So on behalf of Project One and the Emerging Interdisciplinary Research or Building Climate Smart Communities Program, or EIDRB Smart Program and Philippine Satuyama team, I would like to thank you all for your interest in joining our webinar series. The Socio-Ecological Production Landscapes and Seascapes, or SEPLS, originally came from the Japanese term or Japanese word Satuyama and Satumi, which is anchored from the principle of living in harmony with nature. So this event is to enhance the awareness of SEPLS and Satuyama Satumi concept as a strategic approach to biodiversity and ecosystem landscape and seascape conservation. So we hope that we will all have a very stimulating and a very productive webinar this morning. Okay. So now let's proceed to the webinar proper. I hope that we're all eager to know more about our topic today on SEPLS restoration and conservation. And with that, may I call on our Project One leader of the EIDRB Smart Program and a professor here at the Institute of Biological Sciences, University of the Philippines, Los Baños. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give a warm virtual welcome to UP scientist Dr. Inocencio Buot Jr. to introduce our speaker. Dr. June, good morning.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anne. Our resource speaker for this morning is an expert of the structure and dynamics of socio-ecological production landscapes and seascapes, being a member of the International Partnership for the Satuyama Initiative for a number of years now. By the way, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jay. She holds a bachelor's degree in community development from Thailand's Konkan University, a master's degree in forest resource administration from Kasetsart University, and a PhD from Tokyo University of Agriculture. She then worked in the Royal Forest Department of Thailand, doing research and promotion of non-timber forest products utilization and conservation from 1998 to 2007. And since 2007 to around 2020, she worked for the Institute of Environmental Rehabilitation and Conservation, an international NGO, to promote sustainable agriculture, forest conservation, and environmental education in Thailand, Cambodia, and the Philippines. Currently, she's working as a senior researcher for the Thailand Environment Institute. Her work covers interesting and dynamic topics on forestry, climate change, ecosystem-based adaptation or EBA, and sustainable development. Indeed, very much related to the advocacies of the International Partnership for the Satuyama Initiative or IPSI, where we both had been attending for quite a time now. And of course, very related to our project on socio-ecological production landscapes and seascapes of the Philippines here at the UP. And this is in collaboration with the Visayas State University, Caraga State University, and Bicol University. Our speaker is not foreign to universally known scientific method, starting with curiosity and inquiry, and ending up with publications and technologies. As such, she helps guide and mentor authors as a member of the board of editors of the International Journal of Environment and Rural Development, of the International Society for the Environment and Rural Development, and the Journal of Management and Development Studies of the UP Open University. Colleagues and friends, our ever dynamic speaker loves coffee, loves wine, dining, and ceramics. In fact, I still have the set of ceramics she gave to me, and she is no other than Dr. Jeeranuch Sakkhamduang, or Dr. J for short. Dr. J.
Thank you very much, Chun. Thank you very much for your introduction. It sounds too good to be me. Okay, and very good morning for everyone from Thailand Environment Institute. First of all, I would like to thank the host for contacting me to share experience with you today. And the second is, please bear with me since I came back to Thailand. I didn't use much of my English, so please bear with my English, as everyone knows how skillful we are as a Thai people in speaking and communicating in English. Okay, can I start my presentation now?
Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Just a moment, please. Okay. So can you share my screen now?
Yes, ma'am, we can
Okay.
see your screen.
Okay, thank you very much. So today my speaking topic is the self-restoration and conservation in Thailand through the work of some selected civil society organizations. Okay. First of all, I would like to introduce you about the organization that I'm currently working for. The Thailand Environment Institute is a civil society organization founded in 1993. We focus on the partnership towards sustainable development. And you can see here we have several fields of work. For example, environmental label. So we are the only one organization in Thailand that issue the green label. And we have a section of natural resources, climate change, and urban and community for livable city, and policy and planning monitoring. And we also have a training section. And moreover, we also act as a secretariat organization for Thailand Business Council for Sustainable Development. So this is my presentation outline. First, I would like to introduce you Thailand landscape, and then we are going to talk about the state of natural resources and environment and issues in natural resources management, and the role of some civil society organization. And I will present you some case studies, and we are going to the conclusion. Here you can see Thailand. Maybe some of you already familiar with Thailand landscape. We have quite a varied landscape, start from mountain in the north part to the plain to sandy beach in the south and east. But of course, our beach cannot compare with that of the Philippines. So our country is divided into 5 regions, 5 geographic regions. The mountain in the north, as I mentioned, and the Krolat Plateau here on your right-hand side, and the Chao Phraya River Basin in the center, and the peninsula in the south. For the state of our natural resource and environment, I would like to share just the 3 part, three sectors that I think is quite important for us for our topic here: forest and wildlife, marine and coastal resources, and land resource and land use. So for forest and wildlife, recently the area of forest in Thailand just slightly changed because of the government's policy and the decrease in forest enforcement because the law enforcement, the strong law enforcement, and we have also decrease in forest fire. But the severity of PM 2.5 in some areas still remain because we have something called transboundary haze caused from the burning from our neighboring countries. And also we still have threatened on wildlife and plant, especially endangered species. And we still have conflict between human and wildlife, especially farmers and wild elephants. Regarding marine and coastal resources, we noticed the increase in marine resources, especially amounts of fish and crab and blue crab and shrimp, and also increase in mangrove area. But however, we found or we observed that it's decrease in area of beach and swamp forest as well as seagrass beds. And unfortunately, according maybe due to the pandemic of COVID-19, we found its increase in marine debris, especially the disposable mask, facial mask, surgical mask. For the land resource and land use, we have low fertile soil and unsustainable land use, and increase in soil loss and decrease in agricultural area, decrease in agricultural area and decrease in settlement area. For the issue in natural resources management here in Thailand, I don't know if you face a similar issue. So here the land tenure rights are not well recognized or protected. Even it's indicated in the law, but it's not well practiced. And also inadequate safeguards of local and indigenous rights. One funny fact is we cannot use the indigenous people in our official document because government of Thailand is not accepted that we have indigenous people here. They regard everyone is Thai from the beginning, or we can use the ethnic minority, but not indigenous people. And another issue is losing in traditional knowledge on natural resources conservation and utilization, and low market incentive for sustainable production, the market for forest product. So what is the role of a civil society organization to tackle with those issues in supporting with our government? Recently, we have 290 civil society organizations registered with the Department of registered with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment. So mostly around half of them are registered and work in Bangkok, and the second largest portion is work in the northern part of Thailand. So the work of civil society organizations, they work on the ground to support local communities and link stakeholders, especially governmental agency and private sector, to work with communities. And some of them propose policy recommendations from on-the-ground experience, like in case of Thailand Environment Institute. In my organization, also we propose a lot of policy recommendations regarding natural resource management or in pollution management policy. And also awareness rising on sustainable resource utilization to public through media or handout or book or publications. So here I'm going to share with you today's 3 case study. So I try to select the case that represent different geographical or different self. First case is from the north. The title is Securing Community Land Right through Household and Community Land Use Map. And the second case is from the Northeast, from civil society who work in the river basin. So they work on traditional knowledge on flood forest management. And the final case is the work of TEI or Thailand Environment Institute that work on restoring peat swamp forest through community empowerment. So let's start with the first case study. So in Thailand, forest dependent and ethnic minority communities, they depend heavily on natural resources, especially forests. However, several acts and laws related to forests make the customary land rights or ownership illegal. Although they were there more long before the act or law is amended. And there's a lot of changes in agricultural practice from self-sufficient to commercial agriculture, especially in the north. So people change from rotating farming to monocropping, especially corn. And also it resulted in increase in forest encroachment for agricultural purpose. It's also result like a subsequently is decline in environmental quality, especially soil and water due to agrochemical that they put in their farmland. And due to deforestation, the area, especially in the mountainous area and the steep slope area, is prone to disaster. So what happened there is the Sustainable Development Foundation or SFD, they initiate projects to halt forest encroachment and enhancing livelihood for community in mountainous region by making household and community land use map and forest boundary under the collaboration and agreement of local communities, relevant government agency and local administrative offices. They also introduced some alternative plants such as bamboo and coffee, and agroforestry also were introduced to be an alternative way of agriculture from monocropping. And they also involve business sector to buy sustainably produced product from the community to make sure that their product can be sold. What is very interesting in this project is the result as you can see in the photo. But before that, they noticed that no more forest encroachment because everyone knows clearly where is their boundary of their farmland and also what is the boundary of community. So the household map that produced by the agreement of community and local government is accepted by financial institute as a credit collateral. Although it's not a legal one, but it's come from the agreement of community and local government, so they can use it. And thanks for the local bank, they accept it as a creditor collateral. And then there are changes in monocropping to agroforestry, and also changes in community livelihood to be more sustainable manner and more understanding between government agency and local communities. Because before that, there are a lot of conflict and misunderstood between each other, between both sides because of their different agenda or different interests. Now we come to the northeastern part of Thailand, from the mountain to the flat area we call the Korat Plateau. And in this area, there an activity of one organization to revival traditional knowledge on flood forest management. Here you see from the picture is Sebai stream. The Sebai stream is a tributary of the Moon River. So in every year in rainy season, the vast area of vast forest will cover by flood. And the forest itself covers both sides of the stream and is a source of food for locals. Local community there, they possess traditional knowledge on flood forest management and utilization from generation to generation. However, the changes in livelihood make flood forest losses important for local communities. So the Sustainable Landscape Development Association, they conduct a project to revive traditional knowledge and promote sustainable use on flood forest. By collecting traditional knowledge related to flood forest management and utilization, and establishing a trail in flood forest and training the elderly member to share their knowledge, promoting a trail in flood forest as a learning place. And they're also establishing fish sanctuary as a spawning area for aquatic life. And they also work with local administrative office to add forest conservation and management in their strategy and action plan. So the result from their work is including traditional knowledge related to flood forest management and utilization was documented. As you can see, the below one is the book that they published. And the trail in flood forest were established and elderly members shared their knowledge for visitors. Students in that area also visit flood forest as their learning place, and several fish sanctuaries were established along the stream as a spawning area, and local administrative office at flood forest conservation and management in their strategy and action plan. Now we come to the third case studies, restoring peat swamp forest for community livelihood. So here you can see the peat swamp forest, the photo of peat swamp forest. The Kreng peat swamp forest is the largest peat swamp forest in Thailand, and is a source of water, fish, non-timber forest product, especially sage for surrounding community. The forest is threatened by the area encroachment for oil palm plantation and also forest fire. And also it's decrease in fish and sage due to drought and overexploitation. So the Thailand Environment Institute conduct the project to create incentives for local community to conserve and manage peat swamp in sustainable manner. So forest fire management and value added for sage handicraft training were conducted for local communities. And there are also replanting sage and residue management activity with relevant stakeholders. Moreover, knowledge on ecosystem services from peat swamp forest was disseminated to school and stakeholders. So the result of the of the project include the local communities collaborate with authorities for fire management, fish, sage, and other non-timber forest products were restored. Value and program for sage handicraft, value add program for sage handicraft was established. More women and elderly involved in handicraft production, which increased their income. And relevant stakeholders aware of the importance of peat swamp forest ecosystem services. Now I come to my conclusion. So the civil society organization play a vital role in promoting sustainable socio-ecological production landscape and seascape utilization and management by connecting various stakeholders to support local communities, and also by producing policy recommendation through on-the-ground experience and disseminating information and story of self-sustainable management to public. Okay, this is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Let's give a virtual clap to Dr. Jeeranuch Sakkhamduang. Thank you very much, Dr. Jeeranuch, for your talk about some of the issues in natural resources management in Thailand. And that is actually much evident as well here in the Philippines. And for discussing to us comprehensively the important roles of the civil society organizations in realizing the restoration and conservation plans among SEPLS or Satoyama Satumi sites in Thailand. So if you have any questions to our guest speaker, please leave them in our Zoom chat box. And for our viewers on Facebook Live, kindly send your questions via comment section, and we will take note of your questions and we will ask them later on after the discussion. So also the link, just a reminder, a link to the evaluation form will be shared on the comment section or chat box during the Q&A session. So yeah, so now let's proceed to the discussion. Today we have a guest discussant to give insight to our topic this morning. So I will introduce him to you. So our discussant is a professor at the Department of Forest Science at the Visayas State University. He obtained his Bachelor of Science in Forestry in 1992 at the Visayas State University, and he took his master's and doctoral degree in Forest Resources Management at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, and graduated in 1998 and 2007, respectively. For about 27 years, he has gained solid experiences in research, instruction, in forest technology promotion, project development, management, and training. He has attended conferences worldwide, including the United States, Denmark, Netherlands, South Africa, Australia, among others, of course, as well here in Southeast Asia, which tackles watershed communities, climate change, community forestry, and policy development, biodiversity conservation, agroforestry systems, and landscape restoration. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all give a warm virtual clap to Professor Arturo Pasa. Doc Art, welcome and good morning.
Thank you, Anne, for that introduction. Sawadee ka. Yeah, so I learned some words from Thailand. Good morning, everyone. I would like to congratulate, of course, Dr. Jeeranuch Sakkhamduang, Senior Researcher from Thailand Environment Institute, for the excellent, informative, and evidence-based presentation on socio-ecological production landscapes and seascapes restoration and conservation in Thailand through the works of civil society organizations. The presentation actually focused on three major points, namely, one, the state of natural resources and environment in Thailand, which is actually very similar to our case. And second, issues and concerns in natural resources management. And third, roles of civil society organizations. In her presentation, Dr. G pointed out that forest areas in Thailand have slightly changed, and there is decrease in forest encroachment due to law enforcement, which is a good result of such endeavor. Decrease in forest fire, increase in marine resources, and increase in mangrove areas, which are vital signs of positive outcomes of restoration efforts. Nonetheless, they are facing a number of challenges like soil fertility, unsuitable land uses, increase in soil loss, increase in agricultural areas, and increase in settlement areas. She also mentions some concerns about land tenure, rights, traditional knowledge, and market incentives. But with the help of civil society organizations, these concerns have been slowly addressed by working on the ground to support local communities, linking stakeholders, especially governmental agencies and private sectors, to work with communities, and proposing policy recommendations from on-the-ground experiences and awareness raising on sustainable resource utilization to the public. Hence, civil society organizations play vital roles in promoting socio-ecological production, production, landscape, and seascapes utilization and management. Of course, I would like to commend such initiative led by Dr. G, and hopefully this will spread out not only in Thailand but also in areas where such undertaking is applicable. Hopefully, the involvement of civil society groups and other organizations towards restoring seascapes and landscapes will continue, and more groups or individuals will join. Actually, we can relate such initiative under the Philippine environmental conditions. Thailand and Philippines have a number of similar endeavors towards seascapes and landscapes, having more or less similar challenges. Needless to say that we need to restore and sustain our sociological production landscape and seascapes for the benefit of the humanity and the environment. And of course, with the long experience of Dr. G on this aspect, I know she can share a lot of information if ever you have questions. So I think this is the time that you can share your questions to Dr. G. So with that, I would like to thank you, everyone, and of course, Dr. G. Kob Kun Ka and Mabuhay.
Thank you very much, Doc Art. And thank you for your insights and giving highlights of the topic today, and for emphasizing the need to restore our sepals for the humanity and for the environment. So we're now opening the floor for questions. So if you have any questions for Dr. Jeeranuch, kindly type in your questions, or if you would like to ask them directly, you can unmute yourself, you can raise your hand, and you'll be acknowledged to unmute yourself to ask the question. Okay, so I do have one anonymous question here. Are there online published or studies, papers on the case studies presented? So she is very much interested to read more about those studies.
Yes, there are publication online, but unfortunately, it's written in Thai.
Oh.
Not in English. But I would say all of the case studies are very interesting, and personally for myself, and I interest in the first case study, as it's the first time in Thailand that civil society can work along with governmental office to produce a map, land use map. It's a kind of return a tenure right to local community. Even it's not a legal document, but it's accepted by the local stakeholders, especially local authority, and more the thing that's more impressed me is the local bank accept it. Yeah, so farmers, they can feel more secure to invest in their land and to make a change in their agricultural practices, like change from monocropping to agroforestry, because now at least they have a certain level of securing right on their land. And this initiative is already repeated or extend to another province in Chiang Mai, on another district in Chiang Mai province. Maybe next time if you come to Thailand, any of you, maybe you can contact the Sustainable Development Foundation about more information.
Okay, thank you very much, Doc J, for your answer. So it's kind of saddening, of course, for us as researchers. We could actually use your studies as references, but I think we could still somehow use some technologies or app to translate the paper. But we thank you for sharing those case studies. If not, we might not have known about these studies. Yeah, so one comment here from Dr. June Buot. Indeed, involving civil society is the challenging part of natural resources management. So what was your secret strategy?
Not my secret, but I learned from the work from other organizations, because last 2 months I work on knowledge management to collect lessons learned from 38 civil society in Thailand who worked on the natural resources. So I can pick up some experience and some good practice from them. And one of the very interesting secret or tip to work with, government organization is polite but persistent. This is the term that they use. You cannot stop or cannot give up to make the governmental side understand your objective. And then if they cannot accept your working, the way that you work, so start to talk to them and make them learn and adjust the way of working together, because finally both sides has the same goal to conserve natural forests or natural resources, but the mean or the way of working may be different. So just try to find the the center point, the point that everyone can collaborate. I'm not sure if I can answer persistent but politely.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Jeeranuch. Are there any more questions? Anyone who could ask more questions? If you're shy to type in your questions, you can message me directly. Some of your questions. Anyone else? Okay. Okay, so
sorry, it seems the situation in the Philippines is not so different from Thailand. When we
yes.
open the floor for questions, so we
Yes.
sit very quiet room. Same here as well.
It's always like that. So by the way, I was amazed. The bank has been lending cash to people, even
Yeah.
if there was no law, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an amazing practice, because normally we base on legal papers only before you release cash. But you see, when the civil society, with the local people would be very active with their advocacies, then all the rest of the sectors would be with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I also amazed when I heard that the local bank accept that paper.
Yeah.
Yes. And also the project also involves private sector, because they promote local farmer to plant bamboo as an alternative plant, and they also connect the private sector, so the manufacturing of bamboo, to come and buy the product to make farmer feel more secure and to encourage farmer to change more.
Yeah. Patience and perseverance, very important virtues for community development workers.
Okay, so we all have an additional question here from Doc Art. He says, forest protection in the Philippines is very challenging. Some guards were murdered. Have you experienced this too in Thailand?
Yes, I would say it's used to be such situation, but not now. Recently, the government side also, they changed their strategy, not only law enforcement, but also supporting more, become more friendly. And they give more, disseminate knowledge about do and don't, rather than just arrest people. So the case of the murder of a forest ranger is less and less compared to in the Philippines, I would say. And our situation is safer here.
That's great.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Jeeranuch, for answering that question. So if all are already contented and you don't have any more questions, maybe we could proceed to the awarding of certificates. Okay, so again, thank you very much, Dr. Jeeranuch, and for Doc Art for being our resource speaker and our discussant this morning. So to present our certificate, may I just share my screen for a moment. Okay. To present this Certificate of Appreciation, the University of the Philippines Open University, EIDR B-Smart Program awards the Certificate of Appreciation to Dr. Jeeranuch Sakkhamduang for giving invaluable knowledge and expertise as resource speaker during the webinar topic entitled SEPLS Restoration and Conservation in Thailand through the works of civil society organizations of the Revitalizing Socio-Ecological Production Landscapes and Seascapes webinar series held on 30th June 2022 via Zoom, given this 30th day of June 2022 at the Institute of Biological Sciences, University of the Philippines. Signed, Dr. Inocencio Ibuot Jr., Professor and Project Leader, and Dean Joan V. Serrano, Professor and Program Manager. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and the University of the Philippines Open University EIDR B-Smart Program awards the Certificate of Appreciation to Dr. Arturo A. Pasa for serving and giving insights as discussant during the webinar topic entitled SEPLS Restoration and Conservation in Thailand through the works of civil society organizations of the Revitalizing Socio-Ecological Production Landscapes and Seascapes webinar series given this 30th day of June 2022 at the Institute of Biological Sciences, University of the Philippines, Los Baños. Signed, Dr. Inocencio Ibuot Jr. and Dean Joan V. Serrano. Thank you very much, Doc Art. And for our announcements, we are inviting you to our next event on July 28, 2022 at 10 a.m. with the scope Environmental Issue Analysis, Ecosystem Sustainable Use, Coaching and Mainstreaming Gender and Conservation Education to be presented by our next international speaker, si Songfran Sengtavidet of the Environmental Management and Social Behavior Change in Laos. So if you're interested, you may scan the QR code below or type the link, or we will send the link later on in the Zoom chat box. And we will provide a certificate of completion to those who will be able to participate the webinars from the first episode to our last event. Okay, so may we request everyone to open up their cameras for our photo opportunity. Okay. All right, I can see some faces already. All right, since everyone is already ready, let me count 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, next page. 3, 2, 1, smile. If you can't open your cameras, you may also click the emoji. At least we know that you're there. Okay. Okay.
I learned this first time in Thailand.
Yeah. Yes, virtual. So again, thank you very much, Dr. Jeeranuch and Dr. Art, and
My pleasure.
we welcome you here virtually in the Philippines. I hope that you can visit us again.
Sure, my pleasure. Okay, thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you so much. Thank
Welcome
you.
to the Philippines.
By the way, the evaluation link is already posted in the chat box. Later on, I will share it on the Facebook Live. And to those who are interested to join our webinar next month, we are inviting you to join us again. And yes, that's all, I think. I think that's all. And have a great day, everyone. Again, thank you, Dr. Jeeranuch. It's really an honor to have you here with us.
Bye-bye. Thank you
bless
so
Thank you,
much for
Ann.
having me. Thank you. Thank you, Dr.
Jane,
R. Thank you.
Your
Ann.
office is in Bangkok?
Yes.
Oh,
Now
yeah.
based in Bangkok.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So please let me know whenever you come here.
Yeah, yeah. So that
Yes.
we can eat.
Please.
Sir June, we will schedule a visit.
Yeah.
We'll be flying next
project.
week.
The project
Oh.
will schedule a visit so that we will learn the strategy of involving the civil society
Okay.
and
Yes.
convincing the different sectors in the
Mm.
community to
Mhm.
join hands.
Mhm, mhm. Yes.
Take care, Jay. Take
Take
care.
care.
Dear
Thank you
friend.
very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you very much, everyone. I hope that you could join us again next month.